Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum class. I welcome you to English grade 8 video lessons. This is your instructor Hamid. My dear learners, I hope that you're doing well. Now it's time for our unit number 2 with the title Greenhouse Effect and Our World. This is our lecture number 1 with the competency of grammar. Now let's get started with the topic intensive pronouns. Let's begin by reading our student learning outcomes and understand that what we are supposed to do in this lesson. So our SLO is use intensive pronouns, for example, myself or ourselves. So this is as easy as it's looking like. We will be talking about our intensive pronouns like myself, ourselves, and there are many others. So let's get started. Now, before that, let me remind you of a vertical linkage of this SLO with the previous grade that you have already studied. Moving on with our brainstorming session. For today, the activity is answering this question that why do we use pronouns? I hope that you can recall about nouns, pronouns, and you have already familiar with different parts of speech, but can you tell us that why pronouns are used? Let's move on with our topic intensive pronoun. Let's see what is an intensive pronoun. So intensive pronouns are used to add emphasis to statements. In the following examples, the intensive pronouns are for ease of identification. So this is why we use intensive pronouns. It adds an emphasis and it helps us to identify that to whom the thing is talked about is mentioned. Now let's look at an example from the book. We have two examples over here. Similarly, these gases themselves work as Earth's warm keepers. So, are we ourselves causing harm by adding these extra gases? So, these circle words, the bold words, are actually our intensive pronouns. Now, let's see why they are important. These gases themselves, we are talking about the gases doing it by themselves, working as Earth's warmth keepers. Here, ourselves, this intensive pronoun is actually referring to the previous pronoun. It's adding emphasis for identification, for the ease of identification, as we read earlier. Now, let's think about all the intensive pronouns like myself, yourself, himself, and you can come up with so many different pronouns that you know that we use in our daily, in our both oral and written communication. So can you come up with intensive pronouns? Yes, these are highlighted for you. Let's read it. I myself completed the entire project. So this pronoun is actually intensifying the previous pronoun. It's adding emphasis. She herself baked the cake for the party. He himself fixed the car windows without any help. You yourself can solve this problem. The cat itself opened the door. So these are our intensive pronouns, and we have seen them being used in sentences. Moving on, now it's time to watch a simulation video. You can watch it right after this video lesson for a better understanding of intensive pronouns. Now, for your classroom activity, my dear learners, we have a very interesting prompt for you. Look around you and observe what others are doing. Then point out and speak a sentence using intensive pronouns. For example, you can say you yourself is responsible for this or for the act. So you can use as many intensive pronouns as you can remember and look around you, take your observation and examples from your surrounding. Now, for your homework, you have to use intensive pronouns that we talked about in your sentences. So, intensive pronouns like ourselves, myself, herself, himself, itself, all these, some others are, they are very easy. You have learned them. Now it's time to use them in your both written and in your speech. Here is a worksheet attached for your understanding. Now let's talk about our resources that are attached with the description of the video. You can access them easily. Skill sheet, worksheet, question bank, a presentation, and a lesson plan. All these are attached for your understanding. My dear learners, I hope that you had a very interesting time learning about pronouns, and you recalled why do you use pronouns, and then you learned about intensive pronouns with examples, and you learned so many intensive pronouns and you use them in your sentences. Time to wrap up the lecture. See you in the next video lesson. This is your instructor Zia Hamid. Allah Hafiz.